And I was like, who is this guy? And then when I clicked on his profile, I was like, this is the most attractive man I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm just in my sweatpants looking like a fool. And I was like, there's no way. And as we started talking, I was like, wait, he's funny, he loves Jesus, he's a creative, he gets like the online world that I'm kind of in. To make a long story short, we fell in love. He moved down to the United States, and now we live here together.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rocky Students Podcast.
All right, Kirby.
Hey.
Welcome to Colorado.
I am so excited to be here. I love Colorado.
You've been?
I've been to Colorado before,
Okay,
yeah.
I love that. What's your favorite part of Colorado?
My favorite part of Colorado, I don't even know if we're going to be able to see it or drive by them, but honestly, the mountains, because Texas is flat.
Well,
Anything there.
if you look over there, you can kind of see them
In the distance.
in the distance.
Beyond the rain.
A little cloudy.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad. All right, I love that. First things first, we just want to get to know you a little bit.
Period.
Tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up? What was your life like?
Oh my
All
gosh.
the things.
Dang, the Kirby lore drop.
Yes.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Kirby Kelly. And I currently live in Texas with my amazing husband, Richard. I love him. He cannot be here, sadly. But I have my friend Chloe here with me, so God is good. Where am I from? Well, I live in Texas now, but I was actually born in the UK.
Okay.
Born in London. Grew up in New Jersey. Did you not know this?
No.
We literally talked about New Jersey. Yes, she's from New Jersey. Yeah, Homedale, New Jersey. Fun fact, if you've ever seen Severance, the Severance building is like right nearby where I grew up, basically. Yeah, pretty crazy. Thank God I didn't get severed. And didn't grow up in a Christian home. Grew up in a very like Catholic household, but it was more so like, hey, we kind of just like do all the Catholic things and you go to mass and you're good. And it wasn't until I moved down to Texas and started going to a Christian summer camp that I actually heard the gospel like presented for the first time. And over a couple of years of going back to that camp, I eventually found Jesus. And now I do full-time ministry. And ever since I got saved when I was 14 and I was set on fire for the Lord, I've been running the race and I'm still doing it today. So that's kind of like in a nutshell
I love
who
that.
I am, what I do, where I'm from.
I love that. How did you meet Richard?
Oh my gosh, so my husband and I met on TikTok actually.
What?
Of all places. A TikTok love story.
I love that.
So to anybody who is praying that God will give them a spouse, maybe check the For You page and pray about it. Because that's what happened to me. You know, my husband's from Canada, I'm from Texas. So he was living up there, commented on one of my TikTok videos, and I was like, who is this guy? And then when I clicked on his profile, I was like, this is the most attractive man I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm just in my sweatpants looking like a fool. And I was like, there's no way. And as we started talking, I was like, wait, he's funny, he loves Jesus, he's a creative, he gets like the online world that I'm kind of in. To make a long story short, we fell in love. He moved down to the United States, and now we live here together.
I love that.
Yeah.
How long have you been together?
We'll be married 5 years in October.
Wow.
Which is crazy. We had a COVID wedding. So
That's awesome.
well, wedding, elopement. Nobody was there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's when we got
exciting.
married.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Okay, did you want to start with a question? Do you want me to start with a question? Okay, I can start with a question. I have to pull it up. I like the one that you said about like growing up. Like how did you? Because now that we know that you like didn't grow up in a Christian household, like you found Jesus at camp, but like what was that like?
Is that the question you want me to answer?
Yeah. Yep. Go for that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, gave my life to Jesus at a Christian summer camp. And it wasn't like the Friday night boohoo fest when it's like the last night of camp and they're like, give your life to Jesus before you go home kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It was like a random Wednesday night worship session, and I'm going to talk about that when I preach tomorrow. But it was interesting not growing up in like a quote-unquote Christian household, because it wasn't like I really ever read the Bible or really knew anything like that. Like I went to mass when I I was Catholic, and went to like the Sunday schools that they did, but like if you were to ask me to recite a Bible verse or say what the gospel was, I wouldn't have been able to do that at all, because it wasn't like that central to my life. And when it came to even just like family life and everything, growing up in New Jersey, and maybe you can even attest to this, Chloe, I don't know, I feel like like culturally there's a lot of like cultural Catholics and a lot of like cultural Jewish people and cultural this, so it's like when it comes to actually taking your faith seriously and living it out, I didn't see a lot of that. So even my family kind of like put on this front that like we were perfect, we had everything all together, we were this like picture perfect family, but when you really like opened the doors and kind of saw what we were hiding, there was addiction in my family. I mean, broken marriage between my parents. Eventually they got divorced because of my dad's addiction with alcoholism, and that's what sent me and my mom and my brother down to Texas to be close to her family. And it was during the summertime that we moved down there, and she was like, what am I gonna do? Like, we were starting a brand new life. I have no idea what this looks like starting from square one with 2 kids, really. And she heard an ad on the radio for a Christian summer camp, so she's like, they have water slides and Jesus, you're going. And so, like, before I knew it, I was at this camp. Wow. And the water slides were fun. But what was more fun and what I didn't expect was actually like encountering and feeling the presence of God without even realizing it yet. Because I was 8 years old at that point. Didn't give my life to Jesus till I was 14, but I got a taste of what was actually real and what was good by going to that camp, like what was true, like real peace, real joy, real everything. And it was interesting, like my heart just like longed for that and yearned for that. So whenever summer came, it was just like this thing that I was so looking forward to. It was this place that I could escape, but not just escape, like actually like learn more about God. And I was genuinely interested in all of that. And yeah, we went to that summer camp and got radically saved after just fighting like so much with mental health and bullying and like wanting to be alive and the loss of my dad. He died when I was 10 from his addiction. So had all these things that I was just dealing with as I was like beginning to learn about the faith, the Christian faith. But it was when I was 14 that I had this radical encounter with God where I gave my life to him, and I realized, oh, he's the thing that's bringing me the peace. He's the thing that's the source of joy. He's the thing that's been constant and ever present in my life when everything else was chaos. And so at that moment, I gave my life to Jesus, and really was the person who brought the faith to my family, to my mom at that point, and to kids in my school, and even online.
That's amazing. Okay, now you can ask me. Sorry, I kind of...
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. When you were younger and growing in your faith at school, what was it like with friends, and how did you do with like people like that didn't have the same values as you?
Oh, it's such a good question. Because like when I got saved, it was right before I went into high school, and like high school is a whole other.
Did you go to a public high school
in
Texas?
I went to a Texas public high school. Yeah. And if you know anything about that, it's wild.
It is wild.
Not as wild as I feel like it is today. Like I be seeing some stuff on TikTok, and I'm like y'all, you students are insane. It was so crazy in my day too. But the thing was I gave my life to Jesus, and I was so outspoken about it on like social media, like right when it first began. So everyone that I knew from middle school going into high school like knew that I had this like Christian Kirby, born again, new person. I was a new person.
Yep.
And so I think when it came to like friends and everything, some of them left me, honestly, or I had to end some of those friendships because they were just becoming very toxic. And I realized like, I want to be a good influence on this person, but this person doesn't want that. And I have to distance myself from them. That doesn't mean that I hate them or I don't want to be friends with them or friendly to them. Yeah. But I had to like set up boundaries with who my close-knit community needed to be. So when it came to some friendships, they had to be pruned, they had to be distanced, there had to be boundaries. But even when it came to some of the other students, I ended up making like a whole new set of friends, even if it was just a small group of people where I was like, wait, like you love Jesus too? Let's like do this thing together. Let's start a Bible study. Let's like do life together. And I was able to find community, even if it was just 1 or 2 or 3 people. But then to everyone else around me, I mean, I just loved Jesus, and I loved people, and I never used that to cast a stone at anybody.
Yeah.
I used it to wash people's feet, like love people, serve people, show up for people, be the friend that people needed, especially in high school. And I think through being the friend that Jesus even models, like with the disciples, like being that kind of friend to people opened up so many doors for evangelism in my school.
That's really good. Chloe, do you have anything to add to that? What your story? Did you grow up in a Christian home?
I did. I
public
grew up in a
school?
Christian home. My parents were involved in church,
Nice.
so very ministry minded. I was homeschooled, so I didn't have the school experience like Kirby did. But yeah, I grew up in New Jersey. Very Jewish.
Very Jewish, very Catholic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How would you say, I mean, you grew up in a Christian household and you were homeschooled. A lot of our students at our Niwot campus especially are homeschooled. And I would say the most part in Christian households. So what would you say, like, how do you think that shaped your faith and kind of how you're walking with the Lord now?
Yeah, I think seeing my parents, they were the main people in my life. So they kind of shaped and showed me what mature Christianity looked like
Yeah.
and how to pursue the Lord intentionally. I can honestly say the way that I pursue different things, pursue the Lord, it's been shaped by the example that they've given me. I would definitely say, like, press in, but also make it your own. Because
That's
I
big,
think
yeah.
something I wrestled a lot with was, I go to church because my parents go to church. I go to youth group because my parents want me to go to youth group. But eventually I had to come to this point in my life where I was completely sold out for God, not because my parents were sold out for God.
That's big.
Yeah.
How old were you, like, when that happened for you? Just like, this needs to be my faith.
Yeah, so I was bullied like you were, and when I was about 16 years old, I got to the point where I had to stop caring about the opinions of others and genuinely make God my best friend. And it was hard because, not everyone is the same way. They have the same mindset.
Yeah.
But it was when I was 16 that I was like, no, I need to be completely sold out for the Lord. What I'm doing is for Him and Him alone, and He's gonna provide and bless everything that I need in His timing.
That's big. Yeah. Wow. That's really big. Do you want to throw another one? You had good
yeah.
ones.
Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna wing it.
Do it. Go for it. I love that. Yes.
So you wrote a book. Yeah, I saw your Instagram.
What was that? Okay, wait. What was that process like?
No, what-
first of all, like, what led you to that?
Yeah.
Writing a book, oh my gosh, the Lord, because that's no easy task. Like, if you are called to write a book, like, bro, you are called, because that takes forever. But I guess, like, that process, first of all, if anyone wants to check it out, it's called You Can Be Free. And it's about overcoming habitual sin, temptation, shame, lies of the enemy, and walking out true biblical and practical freedom in your life. And the reason why I wrote it is because I lived it. When I gave my life to Jesus, it was one of those things where it was like, there were certain sins, certain lifestyles, certain, things I believed and ways that I talked, whatever. Like, my whole life, there were certain things that just completely were transformed in that moment, like made new in that moment, completely sold out and abandoned in that moment. But then there were other things, like specific sins in my life that I can think of that I continued to struggle with. And I was like, Jesus, like, what is going on? Like, why am I still struggling with these things? This doesn't make sense. Like, am I even saved? Am I a real Christian? I keep messing up. Like, what is happening? And for a long time, I just kept those sins secret because of the shame of, like, well, am I the only Christian struggling with these things? And, is God upset with me? Like, what'll happen if other people, even, like, people in my school, I was, like, one of the only outspoken Christians. What if they found out that I was struggling with these things? Like, then it would be like, oh, every Christian must be, like, right? Like, there were so many lies and so much shame that kept me quiet for so long. And it wasn't until my freshman year of college that I joined a Christian sorority, and it was at my private Christian university that I went to, DBU Go Pats, and we did this exercise called Stand for Your Sister one night, where we filled out an anonymous survey of different things that a person could be struggling with. And my specific sin struggle was on there. And I was like, well, this is an anonymous survey, so I'm going to be honest for the first time in my life. And I circled the things that I struggled with. We crumbled them in like a little paper ball, threw them across the room. We picked up some random other girl's paper, and then we would stand for our sister if she had like circled yes or circled true for that specific struggle. So like, you know, I struggle with my mental health. I use alcohol as a way to cope. I watch things online that I shouldn't. Like, the list went on. And it was so interesting for me for the first time to actually see in a group of like 60 girls how much representation there was for certain sin struggles that we felt completely alone in. And so that kind of like catapulted me on this journey of like, wait, I'm not the only one struggling with some of these things on my secret list that I don't want anyone to know. And that compelled me to confess and bring it not just before the Lord and get forgiveness, but bring it before other righteous people and get prayer and healing. That kind of like jump-started my freedom journey. But all that to say, when it came to the book, I felt like the Lord put it on my heart to write a book, and I had so many people come up to me, people I didn't even know, being like, God's telling you need to write a book. And I'm like, this must be the word of the season, because I've heard this like a million times. And then finally my friend connected me with her literary agent, and she's like, I feel like you're supposed to write a book. I'm like, girl, God better open the door, because I don't know what to do. I don't know what that looks like. And if God calls you to do something, you do not need to strive. He will open every single door. And that's exactly what happened to me. And so I got connected with the right people and prayed, okay, God, what do you want this book to be about? And he was like, your sin that nobody knows about. And I was like, what? I was like, God, what will people think? And he's like, you need to go first so other people can go second. Like, you are free from these things, and like other people need freedom too. And so I wrote a whole book about all my secret sins that nobody knew about, published it, and I've been able to see the fruit of that, of just so many other people actually being able to walk out freedom in their life. And it took a long time to write it, like probably like 6 or 7 months to write it, 3 or 4 months to edit it, and we did the marketing campaign, and then it came out. But it was honestly all from the Lord. It came so easily and naturally because it was something that God called me to do. And I was always a nerd in school. Like, I got my master's in theology, so I would write like 20 to 30 page papers every other week. So writing a book was like, okay, like, it's basically
light work. Just
literally light work, no reaction. It was a lot different than writing a paper, but I think God kind of equipped me in all of my schooling to be able to handle this for like such a greater and more God-glorifying thing that would serve tons of people. So, hey, God will use your homework to maybe lead into your calling. You never know. That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking about that on the way up, that just like, we both saw your book, we haven't read it yet, but I know we were both talking about it and just interested in, like, that was one of my, I was so excited when I saw you on our list for SummerCon, because I was like, that's what these students need to hear, is like a story of somebody that's like, you're not alone in your sin. Like, at this age, I feel like there's just so many students that I hear, like, their story of just, like, I do this thing, and, like, every time I do it, I'm like, God, I'll never do that again. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that thing anymore, but I can't, like, not.
I can't stop.
And, yeah. So, it's such a powerful message, and I really hope the students lean into it, because it's amazing.
Should have brought my books, dang.
Ah, that's all right.
You know what? Get it on Amazon.
We will. We'll Amazon it.
Well, Amazon Prime, if you got it, it's like 50% off. So.
We'll Amazon it. Yeah, it's so good. Maybe I can even talk Matt into ordering some. Give out.
Do it. You, honestly, if your church wants to like buy them, I can get y'all connected like with the wholesale publisher so that y'all can get like a huge discount on it. They offer that for churches specifically. So if you wanted to get it for your students or like so that they can purchase it at like either wholesale or y'all make $1 on it, like I can get y'all connected with that.
I love that. I will bring that up because I love the message. So.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a message that people need to hear.
Everyone needs to hear it.
Everyone be struggling with something. That's
right?
especially when you're new in your faith and you're figuring it out, and it's like, how do I get this Christian thing right? Like, I feel like a bad Christian for struggling, and it's like, well, we don't want to live in sin, but Jesus understands our humanity.
Yes.
He made us human, and with that, he gave us free will, and part of that is the free will and the decision to choose sin.
Yeah.
And for those of us who are in Christ, who have confessed and professed faith in him, and have submitted and committed our lives to following him, he has grace for us to continuously forgive us and pick us back up and walk us through the journey of sanctification. And not a lot of people know what that looks like.
So true.
And so that's what my book's about. It's like, this
that.
is what the sanctification journey looks like.
Journey, the key word there.
Exactly.
Not a one-time thing.
No.
No.
We need to have grace
Yes.
for ourselves. Not as an excuse to sin, but to get back up when we do sin.
Yes. Yes. And even that reminds me when you were saying earlier, like the confession moment is huge, but even sharing that with other members of the body of Christ, and just like when it's secret, it's so much easier to keep doing it. Like when you have people who are also chasing the Lord that can help hold you accountable in that, and that are willing to be honest, like you're saying, and be like, no, you're not alone in this thing. Even if I'm not struggling with the same thing, I've got my problems too. So so big. I'm gonna throw you a little alley-oop here, because your question earlier, Evie, was great for that moment of doubt. Your question around doubt.
Yeah. Like in your journey of like faith and stuff, have you ever like struggled with like Jesus, or like felt like, or like with your relationship with Jesus, like have you ever felt stuck? Sorry, I stumbled on that one. Like your whole journey, like have you ever felt like stuck in like the middle, or like just felt like distant at all?
Like distant from God?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And a lot of that was because those were the times where I felt most distant from God, where I felt like doubt creep in, or I don't even know, like really just like, what's the word I'm thinking of? I just like was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit on the sidelines, like I just don't even matter to God. Like whenever I just like felt those kind of emotions, it usually was because I wasn't spending time with the Lord. I wasn't in the Word. I was maybe even like living in sin, and because of that I felt like I was completely just like discredited from even approaching God. I felt worthless in those moments. So yeah, I've definitely felt all of those things, but I think for me, what I'm thankful for is that I grew up like in a church community, and this is why I think community really matters, is that when I chose to be vulnerable and actually vocal about those things, about being like, hey, I'm not feeling like I'm close to the Lord right now, or I feel like I am just like, I don't know, I've disqualified myself because of these things, or I'm wrestling with doubt in this area because I'm not seeing God show up in this way that I'm expecting to and hoping for, praying for. Whenever I voiced those things, one, to the Lord, and was actually real with him and made space to spend time with him, he always came through, like especially through his word. When I wasn't just seeking to find something for myself, but I was just seeking him. But also when I brought it to like my mentors, my pastors, my other peers who were running after Jesus, they were very and always quick to encourage me in the truth. And I'm so thankful for that I had those people in my life, because I think that we can dwell on lies, we can dwell on insecurities, we can dwell on doubt, and if we just like remain in that and we don't bring it into the light, then like we can really get stuck in that place and never move forward and stay stagnant. But if I know anything about Jesus, it's that he invites us to wrestle with him in the doubt, to approach him with our doubts. Because even if we don't get the exact answer that we're looking for, we're always going to, if we don't find the answer to the why, we will always find the answer of who. We will always find the answer of, God, you are real. God, you are good. God, you are these things. Time and time again, his truth will always prevail. So, I don't know, would you add anything to that, or do you have anything to say to that?
I think one thing I do when I feel distant from the Lord is I ask him, what was the last thing you asked me to be obedient in? That I lacked.
Yes.
Come on.
Because I think sometimes when the Lord goes, hey, I want you to go talk to that person, or hey, I want you to go do this thing, sometimes we can get in our own way and go, no, I'm not going to do that. And God, He doesn't create distance between you, but He just kind of sits and waits for you to do it.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
And even especially when you're asking for like a new thing, you're like, God, give me a new word. And He's like, I gave you a word last week that I'm still waiting on you to step into.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's so good. That is a word. No. And I think even growing up, like I grew up in a Christian household, I grew up in a community where like nobody ever talked about the fact that they had doubt as a Christian.
Yeah.
So it's like, I felt like I was like, there's something so wrong with me because I was like, I'm not sure about this thing right now. It's not that I don't believe, but I'm just like kind of wrestling with it.
Yes.
But like nobody's ever said that it's happened to them. So like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And I think kind of to your point about the habitual sin, like just being vulnerable as like the Christian community to say like, you're not alone in that. And also I feel like one of the biggest things that I learned in that season was that like true faith comes with wrestling and testing.
Absolutely.
Like you were saying, growing up in a Christian household when you had to make faith your own, like without you taking that step to really figure out that this isn't just blind faith, somebody told me to believe it, so I believe it, like I'm like fighting to understand why I believe this for myself. And like you said, the Lord is just so faithful in responding to that, even if it feels a little isolating for a season. It's big.
When I was in university, I remember I took this like faith foundations type of course. I forget what it was called, but it was so good. That's probably what it was called. But it was really good. And we read a book, and I remember that faith was defined in a way that like I never heard it before, and now like this is what I always say because it's so brilliant. So I think it comes from the Transforming Vision. I think that's the book. I could be completely wrong, or it could be from The Call. It's probably from The Call. But in that book, whichever one it was, it said that faith is a reasoning trust. And the more and more that I've just like chewed on that, I'm like, that is such a good definition, because faith does require an element of trust. It always will. Of, okay, Lord, like even in the doubt, it's like some of us want absolute certainty. We want absolute answers. We want everything to be 100% concrete, in our hands, tangible, instant. And even in our faith, maybe you'll get 99.99% of that, but there will always be that 0.01% of faith that is required to do life with Jesus, with trusting God, with letting Him be the Lord of your life. But the reason why we can have faith is because we have a reason to trust. It is a reasoning trust. We look at the promises of God. Like we look at His patterns, like His faithfulness. We look at, like, He is faithful, therefore I can have faith in Him. I have a reason to trust in Him. And sometimes it will require you to take that step. I think of Abraham, where literally when he was called, God was like, go to the place I'll show you. Like, put that on a map. What do you mean, go to the place that I will show you? It's like, give me the directions. What do you mean? Like, you want me to just start walking aimlessly and then you'll, like, make it make sense? Yeah, that's what God did. Yeah, literally. But it's like, for some of us, maybe we're, like, like standing on the edge of an Abraham moment where it's like, okay, I'm just going to go and I'm going to trust that you're going to make it make sense. And He will. But, like, for some of us, maybe we're, like, in a Peter moment of faith where it's like, I've been walking with Jesus. I've been living with Jesus. I've been seeing Him do the miracles, do the healing. He is God. And you're calling me to step out onto the water. Or I'm really saying, God, like, if that's really you, call me to step out. Okay, step out. What? So it's like, maybe you have a reason to have faith and to step out, kind of like Peter, something to trust in. Or maybe it's like, okay, I'm kind of just trusting you, like, and I'm just going to trust you. Either way, God's going to still be God. He's still going to be faithful. So let that be an encouragement.
That is, for sure. I was in kids ministry for a very long time. One of my favorite series I ever taught was on Hebrews 11:1. And just like the way we phrased it for the kids was like, faith is believing in what you can't see because of what you have seen. And just like you said,
That's a bar.
of like, He's given you time and time again reason to trust. Like, just whether or not we acknowledge those things, I think is the difference. And even if you haven't seen it in your life, you see it in the Word. And like, just the amount of things that we have to just be able to say, I don't have that 0.1%, like you said, but you've shown me that you've never failed, and I'm just gonna keep believing that that's true and that's constant. So good.
And how many of us are being like, God, I just want to like see you move. I want to be a part of something bigger than me. I want to like, God, I want to see your hand. I want to see, like, I just want to see something of you. And then he's like, okay, trust me. And then you're like, no. And
Right?
give him the space to do what only he can do. Like,
true.
you gotta step out in faith if you're gonna see God do what only God can do. Like, some of us need to surrender control in order to walk out in faith and see God be God.
Even just saying too, like, I think it's so funny. I've had moments where I'm like, God, I want to see you. I want to hear from you. And I'm like, not for real though, because I think it would scare the crap out of me. I'm like, I don't actually want to see you. I don't want to hear you actually audibly speak.
What are you gonna say?
Literally. That too. Like, what are you gonna say, first of all? But also, like, if I heard the audible voice of God, I would be freaking out. No, that's so funny.
I'd take off my shoes immediately.
Right?
Like, sorry.
Holy God. So funny.
I feel like you're gonna set my plants on fire and talk to me.
Right?
Plants on fire.
My house plants.
Literally
on
with my,
fire.
I don't even know what plants I have. Half of them are dead. So.
I can't save a plant for the life of me.
I saw this video, and it was like this guy, and it was like kind of like, I think it was an analogy, I don't know if that's the right term, but it was like, this guy was like, supposedly like, he was like drowning or something, and he was like, goes to pass by, and he was like, no, God will save me, God will save me, and then another post on mine, he's like, no, God will save me, God will save me, and then he died, and then he was like, God, why didn't you save me? He's like, I sent the boats, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of just like reminds, like what you guys are talking about, like reminds me of like that. Like he didn't like really see what God was like, you know, showing him.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, nope, God will save. Like, what'd you expect him to do? Like,
Yeah.
pull you out of the water? Like, no, like he sent the boat so you could be saved. Like,
It's good. So good. I kind of want to take us in a different direction real quick. We have 20 minutes.
Let's do it.
I know, right? Physically in the car. Just kidding.
We just do a U-turn.
Okay.
The airport,
Different
you're like,
direction.
I'm like, oh. Great.
So the goal of, or at least part of the goal of this conference is for students to kind of find their purpose, specifically for the things that they're passionate about. As Christians, I feel like we'd frame it in the way of like God has given you gifts and talents in certain areas, and He's called you to use those things for the expansion, the growth of His kingdom, to love other people well, to love Him well. All that to say, what would you define calling as for these students?
Calling. I would say, well, I feel like there's two types of calling.
Okay.
You have like your vocational call, which is secondary, and then you have the call to do life with Jesus and to know Jesus, and that is your first and foremost calling. Because I hear so many people be like, you know, I want to know what my calling is, my purpose is, what does God want me to do with my life? First, He's calling you to be with Him. Like,
Yes.
if you just be with Him, then you have fulfilled your calling to be in relationship with Jesus. That is the first and primary thing that we are called to do. It's to be. But then the secondary thing, the vocation, where it comes to like what you said, like the gifts and the talents and all those things, I think calling is bigger than ourselves. It is it's establishing the kingdom of God and building the kingdom of God and bringing other people into the kingdom of God. And that can look like a million things. It could look like talking on a podcast like this. It could look like preaching from a platform. It could look like creating art. It could look like just being really good and excellent at your job and just simply being a light with how you carry yourself. Like, ministry doesn't look like a one-size-fits-all, and the call to build the kingdom also doesn't always look the same. But if you are pursuing Jesus and you are concerned about pointing other people to that, then I think you're going to find fulfillment in whatever it is that you're doing, because that is what calling is foundationally rooted in.
That's good. Yeah, in my biblical foundations class at school, in college. We read, I could not tell you the title of the book for the life of me, I have no idea, but they were talking about how calling is where your gifts, talents, and abilities meet the needs of the kingdom around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really good definition of just like servant heart, servant posture that Jesus calls us to as well. I love that though. That first and foremost is just a call to be, not a call to do.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, especially if like that's where you're putting your identity in, of like I have to do all these things for God. It's like we do these things out of love for God, but it all stems from being with God. It's like we have that security, we have that foundation, and it's from having that relationship that I would hope that we're all spurred on to want to be Christ-like to other people and show them the love of God, like what they're missing out on, truly.
Yeah, that's big. Yes. Okay, we have 15-ish minutes.
Okay, I have a question for you too.
Oh, love that. Yes, let's do
my
that.
podcast now, everyone.
Okay.
Question for you two. What is a really cool testimony that you have of just like a time where maybe God was like super real or showed up in your life where it was like, oh my gosh, God did this. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just like, wow, he was faithful in this moment. Wow, he really spoke to me in this moment.
Okay.
Wow, he really saw me in this moment.
I want Chloe to jump in on this one too.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? All right.
You go first.
You got it, Evie. Start with a bang.
So, a lot like you, I went to summer camp, and that's when I really was like introduced to God. But then after that, I kind of just like went home, and I kind of like went back to like normal, and I kind of just like, brushed it off. But then, okay, so I was diagnosed with epilepsy in 2nd grade. So that has just been really hard on me, like, my whole life. It's just been, like, I want it to be over, I want it to be done, like, it's so annoying. But, so, one of the main problems was, if I have seizures, keep having seizures, then I can't get my driver's license. And then, so that was a huge panic for me, and I was just like, I can't do this. So I started praying, and I was like, Lord, please, like, help me, like, with this. Like, I need help. Like, help me get rid of these seizures, like, please. It was like this whole thing. And then I went to the doctor's office, and I did, like, an EEG, I think. And then I was clear. I had no seizures. And I went home after the EEG. And I laid in my bed, and I was just like, God is real, and I started crying. And I was just like, I can get my driver's license, or my permit, and I was like, I can drive now, and it's like my favorite thing. Sometimes I don't feel like driving, but it's so fun. Like I get to drive to Starbucks and drive to Cane's, and I drove to church the other day, and it was really fun. And honestly, I want to share that with everyone. I'm just a little scared. Because every year at camp, they do this thing where you share your testimony. And I was going to do it last year, but they, ran out of, time or something, so I didn't get to share my testimony. So I think I might do it this year.
Oh, Miss Ma'am, I will get you in the front of that testimony line.
And starting us off.
Literally. Aaron, give me that mic.
And I want to do it so bad, but I feel like I know so many people in that crowd, and I just don't know if it will, change their perspective on me. But at this point, I don't really care. I'm just whatever. If you hate me now because of something that I was diagnosed with in 2nd grade, then you're not my people. So, yeah, I think in a couple of weeks, I'm going to share my testimony in front of the whole campus.
Girl, testify.
And I will be crying. Just kidding.
Me too.
No.
So yeah.
People need that.
They do.
People need to know that God is still God. He still heals.
Yes. Chloe, you want to go? You want me to go?
You can go.
Okay. I think for me it was going to college. I started going to youth group, second semester, junior year of high school. So not very long before I started making college decisions. But that camp experience right before my senior year was really the first time I was like, oh, like, God has a plan for me. God, like, actually cares what I do with my life. God, like, might actually have a say in where I go to college. Like, let's see what he has for me. Always thought I was going to be a college basketball player. Grew up playing basketball competitively, was like on track to do that. Ended up having major hip surgery sophomore year, so when I was 16. And that like tanked my back, like I couldn't play basketball again after that. So I started golfing. So then when I started applying to colleges, I got a bunch of golf scholarships. And there's one school out in Iowa, Dordt University, where I got an offer to play golf. I was originally going to school for engineering, and they had a great engineering program, and I was like, I like it. Went out to visit, and I was like, never will I ever move to Iowa. I'm not coming out here. I don't want to go to school. It's too small. It's in a small town. Like, not for me. And then came home, was touring the schools around here, grew up in Colorado, didn't ever plan on leaving Colorado. And I just like could not get it off my heart. Like, you need to go to Dordt, you need to go to Dordt. And I was like, no, I'm not going to Dordt. Went out a second time to visit in February. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, it's too small, it's too far, it's all the things. And decision day, May 1st, my coach was like, I need to know. And I was like, all right, Lord, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to Iowa. And we're still there, so trying to be. But yeah, no, the fruit of that and just all the things that have happened in college, no longer in engineering, pursuing vocational ministry now, studying theology, like all the things that never could have happened anywhere at any of the other universities that I had on my plans and my radar, and just seeing what the Lord's done with a fairly simple step. Like, at the time it felt like this like big life-changing thing, and looking back I'm like, being obedient with 4 years of my life is like not the biggest commitment, but not to downplay, like, it felt huge at the time, you know? But faithful there, for sure. That's awesome.
So I'm gonna give a backstory for a second.
Okay.
I was bullied in the church at a young age by my closest friends. And so from about 10 to 14, I was bullied from about 14 to 16. I turned to terrible things. I had an eating disorder, and I really felt crappy about myself. I didn't feel like I was worth it to anyone. I didn't feel like anyone cared about me. So fast forward a little bit, between 16 and 20, the Lord just kind of started doing the work in me, prioritizing my relationship with Him and how I pursued Him, and honestly making Him enough. Where if I had no one and I only had Him, I was perfectly content. And in my early 20s, I had the wonderful opportunity to go out to Texas for ministry program. And I can honestly say, in my first trip to Texas, the Lord started turning my life around. Because with the bullying, with everything I went through, I had a lot of trauma when it came to friendships. Really bad trauma.
Yeah.
And in going to Texas, I've created some really amazing friendships. I met my husband, who's been a huge blessing in my life. And it's like when you ask the question, it's like, well, what do I have to share? But honestly, it's the blessing of people that He's given me. And I'm surrounded by a community that at 10 years old I was praying for. And I'm 26 now. So 16 years I was living to this answer to a prayer that I was praying for.
That's big.
So the Lord, He's been good. Just blessing, providing, and I truly, every single day I wake up and I feel like I'm in the dream. Just that's how I feel that. So yeah.
Oh, and even just that like reminder too, like if you put the Lord first, like seeking Him, but also like when He gives you those people, just like having that foundation of like He's enough, even if all this goes away. That's so big. I love that. Okay, we're like 5 minutes from the church. I would love if each of us just took like 60 seconds for what we hope happens, like how the Lord moves in this weekend at SummerCon. Specifically for you, Kirby, I'd love for you to share a little bit of what you want students to get out of your message specifically. Chloe, Evie, and I, if you just want to jump in and say, like, if you know nothing about SummerCon, if you know everything about SummerCon, like, what you are hoping the Lord will do. Yeah,
I can kick us
Okay.
off. So my message is I'm doing a main stage and I'm doing the breakout.
Yep.
And there's kind of some overlap there. In my main stage, I'm going to be sharing part of my testimony, but really showing about how, like, God was able to, one, save me, but then to purpose and use me so other people could be saved.
yes.
And then also in my breakout session, I'm going to be talking about, like, practically how do we do, like, digital evangelism, discipleship. Like, let's get creative, let's brainstorm and figure out what that might look like if you feel like you can use your influence for Jesus, even if it's, like, one person who follows you, right?
Yeah.
So that's what those sessions are going to be on. And what I'm really hoping for is two things. One, that even just one kid would give their life to the Lord. That, period.
Yes.
That just one kid would realize, wait, life with Jesus is everything. Whether they've been lukewarm, whether they've never heard the gospel, whether they have been, quote unquote, living for Jesus, but really they haven't. I'm hoping for that. But secondly, I'm hoping that a kid kind of just, like, realizes purpose in this weekend of, like, there are actual practical things that I can do right now that align with what God has gifted me in and with who I believe He's called me to reach. So I'm a big practicals girly, so I'm hoping at least, like, out of my sessions that these students feel more equipped to go and to bring the gospel and bring this message of hope to a world that is so in need of it.
I love that. Chloe, you want to jump in? Okay.
So the one thing that came to mind is, I'm going to try to phrase it as pretty as humanly possible.
Okay. It's alright, we like some roundabout descriptions too here.
That the kids will realize that they can break generational curses in their family. And
Come
that it can
on.
start with them. They don't have to wait for someone else to do it. They don't have to wait for this huge sign in the sky saying do it. That they can start now. And that they will feel equipped enough to do it now.
Come on. I love that. I don't want to follow that. Gosh. Abby, do you want to? I'll make you ball.
I don't really know what to say, but I kind of just hope that kids will, like, you know, grow in their faith and will, like, dive in, you know, and just, like, maybe just, like, if they're not really that strong, that little spark will just, you know.
Yeah.
Mustard seed. We love that.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, as a student, like, this conference is for you. Like, what are you hoping the Lord does for you specifically? If you, like, you don't have to get, like, deep about it necessarily.
I'm just kind of hoping that it's, like, it will just, like, you know, something, like, it's something like, oh, that is, like, I can relate to that, and God is like, no, this is for you.
I love that.
Because, you know, life has been a little, like, shaky recently, especially going to sophomore year. Like, I'm excited, but I'm worried at the same time. There's a lot of this friend stuff going on. Like, I prayed a really big prayer the other day, and I'm like, God, if these people are taking me, like, if they're not in your, like, if they're not, like, involved in my life, if they're not supposed to be involved in my life, and they're taking me off the wrong, like, and I'm supposed to be on your path, and they're taking me on this path, take them out of my life. And that is a big prayer.
It's that Amazon shipping prayer. He'll answer that one real fast. It's just like real quick. I know. I didn't mean it. Just kidding.
He said, what a friend we have in Jesus.
Right?
So I'm kind of hoping it will just, like, open my eyes a little bit to God more, because, you know, I also struggle with reading my Bible a lot, so I kind of just want to, like, you know, really get into that. So I hope that it will help me a little bit with that and motivate me.
I love that. All right, we are 2 turns from the church. I hope for the students this weekend, I just hope that they would have a good time with the Lord this weekend. I think that at this age, like, you can just get so caught up in the, like, this Jesus thing is something I can do, like, later in life. Like, I'm living my middle school, my high school, my college life. Like, I can lock in and really get serious about this Jesus thing later. And I think one of the best things to really encourage you that, like, a life with Jesus now is even better than doing all the things you have planned for yourself is just that being a Christian is even more fun than not being a Christian.
Period.
Like, being a Christian does not have to suck. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. Like, but we think it's so boring, and I just pray that these students would just realize, like, how much joy and fun and how much excitement can just come with knowing the Lord. And I really hope that starts this weekend.
They can be the reason why Christianity is fun.
Right? You be the fun Christian.
You be the fun.
You be the fun Christian.
That's your
I-
homework.
Right?
It's your homework.
We are at SummerCon. Woo! All right. Peace. This is